Look at us.
Yep.
No, really, seriously, just take a long,
Okay.
hard look
Together
at
at the same time, or first you and then look at me?
us. Left to right on your radio dial. I would say, hey there, it's David H. Lawrence the 17th. My friend Dan O'Day is to my right or to my left, depending upon which part of the world you are in. And today we are talking about audiobook narration, and we're talking about a very special thing that we've been spending an awful lot of time doing for the last few months, year, maybe. I don't know. How long have we been working on the 10th anniversary edition of the ACX Masterclass?
About 9.5 years.
Oh, we started talking to it the moment we paid our bill at Fatburger?
Exactly.
I see. All right, great. Well, here's the thing. We've been doing this class for 10 years. We're about to start our...
Yeah, coming up on our 10th year.
Yep. And I know we've been doing it for 10 years because we've done 20 versions of the class. Every year we've done a live version in the wintertime and a home study version of that live class in the summertime. And the numbers are staggering. If you go to acxmasterclass.com and look at the number of books that our students have been able to narrate, produce, and put on sale on audible.com, it's stunning. If you were to estimate how many examples of bookings acting students get when they go to an acting class, or narration students get when they go to a voiceover class, you're thinking, hundreds, nice, many hundreds. Nearly 6,000 books have been produced over the time that we've been doing this class by our students. And if you knock me over with a wet noodle, I don't know that I would have thought that would have been how effective we are. How about you, Dan?
I don't think I even thought that far ahead. My big moment of surprise was in the very first class when in week 2, one of our students was offered an audiobook. And let me make this really clear if you're thinking about doing audiobooks, you're going to take our class, please don't expect to get an offer in week 2. And by the way, she had emailed me asking advice. And since she was new, she wasn't an old VO pro or something. I said, look, I know you think this is the only offer you'll ever get. You got to say, either you got to say no, or I gave them some suggested verbiage of how to say, gosh, a much classier way of giving this meta message, which is, gosh, I am booked so much doing all these other audiobooks that, I wouldn't be able to squeeze you in for about 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And that would certainly buy her far more than enough time to learn how to do it. And sure enough, at the end of the 4th week, she got another offer, and she did, and she took it. And once again, I'll correct any misimpressions. I am not saying take the class at the end. As soon as it ends, bam, you're hired for a great book.
No.
I'm just telling you something that was cool for me.
So you kind of giggled through the word another. You went, and by the end of the 4th week, she had and it was another offer.
It was a second offer, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Listen, I want to make sure that those of you that are watching can hear us well and are where you are. Give Dan an opportunity to swig some water. If you could just pop in the chat, the comments below, wherever you're watching on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Let me know where you're watching, who it is that's watching. Say hey. And if you have questions about audiobooks in general, about audiobook narration, about ACX, about Audible, about voiceover as it pertains to audiobooks, please, that's where you ask those questions. Drop them into the chat, the comments below the video that you're watching right now, and we will do our best to answer them. Lulu, this is going to be really hard for me to see. I'm going to have to see if I can. Luana took it virtually in November 2012. Did you? November 2012? I don't think
No,
so. We started in 2014. Maybe you mean 2021.
no,
Started
this
recording audiobooks in December. Still happily VOing 10 plus years later. Yeah, you probably, if you took it anytime, it was in 2014 or later. Because again, we're doing the 10th anniversary this year. So unless you cornered Dan at a Fat Burger and said, "Tell me everything you know about audiobook narration and me," otherwise this dog gets it. I don't know.
David, because you mentioned Fatburger twice, at the very end of this, maybe I'll tell about my encounter with the manager of the hamburger stand.
The Fat
Remember?
Burger.
Yeah, when I placed my
So
order.
yeah, is this supposed to be like a plus that you're going to relate this?
Yes, that's not a threat.
Oh,
That's
okay, all right, fine. So
bonus material.
yeah, so Luana, tell us where you're watching from, and also if you're watching this and you've just joined us, we'd love to know where you're watching from. Just type it into the chat. We'll see the comments as they come up from wherever you are. Luana's on YouTube. Others are elsewhere. We're simulcasting. That's what it was called back in the day, simulcasting.
Mhm.
Remember when they used to do radio concerts both on cable and on the what network would they have used back then? I don't know. Perry's in British Columbia. Thank you for tuning in,
Hey,
Perry.
Perry,
Appreciate that.
welcome.
So we've been looking forward to this. I think it kind of popped up a couple years ago, and we're like, hey, we're almost at 10 years on this, and so much has changed about Amazon and Audible and audiobooks and ACX and so on. Um, the everything about this Calipatria, California. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, and I live here. That's where Luann is watching
Wow.
from.
I've lived in California a very long time. I'm not
Well,
familiar with
clearly it's
Calipatri.
where all the cool kids live.
Well, explain it.
Yeah,
Calipatri, is that an A or an O?
an A, I think.
Calipatria.
Yeah. So, so much has changed. We've kept up with those changes. Every year we update the curriculum to whatever degree it needs to be updated. Uh, what we don't want to do is get into a moment to moment updating because they're just going to change the interface on Audacity, which is the software that we teach, and on ACX and Audible, and how Amazon shows you books in their various formats. So we update when we need to. And recently, ACX made it a very clear update to the way their interface looks. So all the videos that show how to make an account, how to do your profile, how to upload your files once you've produced them to ACX. Um, all of those I'm spending the next and have spent the last month and the next month or so reshooting with all of the new workflows and all of the new looks and feels on ACX. So the whole course is being updated and brought up to date. And then Audacity, which is our software, that too has been updated in the past month, and they're updating it with new versions. We have new ways of doing the stair step method that are even faster than when we started. I mean, I got to tell you, Dan, I'm really proud of you for doing the work that you've done to keep up with the things that students present us as challenges when it comes to writing, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to dealing with rights holders. I just want to, if even though we chide each other all the time, I do want to say how valuable it is, because I think a lot of you can take this kind of course from a lot of different people. You can learn how to do audiobooks from a lot of different people, but I don't think they support you in the same way that we've tried to support people. Would you agree with that?
Not having seen the innards of another audiobook class, I'll be guessing, and my guess is you're probably correct based on the comments that we get from our students, our graduates. They have talked about the support and the not all kinds of technical support, moral support, whatever, ever since we started this. And that was a nice surprise. We just wanted to gather the material, work on it, figure out how to present it in a way that anybody can access it. And I can't speak for you, David. I didn't have time to think about, is this going to work? you know,
Yeah.
I mean, I was confident that it would, but it hadn't been done. And the reason I jumped in, you and I had a luncheon at a 5-star restaurant that is not Fat Burger. No, it's
No, don't think it was a fat burger.
yeah. Give me a break. And David had called me up and he said, "Hey, we want to meet for lunch. I've got a couple of ideas I want to run by you." Okay. And although I thought he said he was paying for lunch, but apparently not. And so I could picture us at Fat Burger with our food. And David told me all about ACX, which in 2013 I was not familiar with. So if someone wants to accuse me of being a newcomer, that's okay. It's only been since 2013.
I think you
And
specialize in just-in-time information. You don't crowd your pretty little head with too much stuff so that you get confused. You just wait until it's
well,
reasonably useful to you before you gather it.
that's because when I was a child, about 4 years old, a doctor told me, don't try to think too much.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
a
don't
good idea.
know what he saw on the X-ray. And so David's telling me about it, and I'm saying, so what's the cost for a narrator to subscribe to be on the platform? No, nothing. What's it cost to add for somebody to advertise an audiobook on ACX? Nothing. What percentage of everything you book, or what fee do you pay every time you book something, which some platforms do? Nothing. They don't, Dan, they don't they don't keep your money. It really is free. It's, and I had kept asking these questions over, trying to think of every loophole. And when finally I believed him, which took a while, um, I believe I said this out loud to you, and this probably very close to these words. Boy, I must be really out of touch. Because David, what you described sounded like such a boon to performers, to current audiobook narrators, to people who want to narrate audiobooks. It just it was so good that I figured, okay, somehow I missed it. Everybody else in the business knows it. I'm the only, and you said, no, right now it's only a couple years old, and most people aren't familiar with it. And that was how I went into it.
Yeah, to be
And
fair, I mean, somebody's making money, and the somebody is Amazon and Audible, and
right.
they created this platform and didn't want to make it hard for people to participate on the platform. They wanted to attract as many people as they possibly could. Some people say they may have done too good of a job of attracting people because of the 600,000 or so narrators that are currently registered on ACX. About 590,000 of them should not be allowed anywhere near a microphone. It's open and available to anybody. Anybody can play. There's no requirements. But that's good news for you if you want to narrate and produce audiobooks, because imagine them listening to people who don't know what they're doing forever and then finding you. And you've been
Mhm.
trained properly. You're an actor, you're a voice talent, you know what you're doing. You stick out like a sore thumb. And that's the kind of student we've been attracting over the last 10 years, are actors, voice talent, people who started off doing audiobook narration. Maybe they jumped on ACX, didn't quite
Mhm.
have the success that they thought, if any at all. And then they came to us and they're like, oh, this is how you do this. And I want to get back to what we said in the very beginning. We don't just show you how to produce, how to do the technical side, narrate and edit and master the audiobook. We show you everything about building a business on ACX and doing so in a smart and productive way, avoiding all the scams that you no doubt have been hearing. Because ACX is wide open to the world, it's attracted the scammers of the world. We have a whole set of modules on how to avoid that. And we also try to make sure that you can manage the relationship between you and your rights holder at a level that's just so much more professional than what normal people who just kind of throw stuff against the wall and see what works do on ACX. It's been important to me as one of ACX's original, I think there were 12 of us, original Audible approved producers. I really wanted to set an example for, people who came after who were going to be managing these relationships that could be ongoing, could be multiple books. I mean, one of the things that Dan introduced is this phrase, narrator of choice. One of the things
David, I'm sorry to interrupt. To be fair, I don't remember who, it was a student in our very first class who came up with that phrase.
All right, well, you heard it. You heard it.
I did hear it.
And ran
By
with it.
golly,
Yeah.
I was there when he or she said it.
So I think the biggest moment of success is when we can help a student do such great work and make such a great impression on an author that they don't need to choose anybody else to do the rest of the books in the series or the other books that they do. I've had the joy of being the narrator of choice for New York Times bestsellers, and they just kind of assume that's how it's done. And sometimes they'll go and they'll find somebody else and they're like, well, wait a minute, this doesn't feel the same way, So it's lovely. Please ask your questions in the comments below. Please let us know if there's anything you want to know about audiobooks, about ACX, about the class. And know that just this morning, and we already have people streaming into the class, just this morning, we opened up a special 1 week only payment plan for the course. The course is going to take place in February of 2024. That's when we're going to actually lead you through the course live across all 4 weeks in February. We're going to do a launch, a registration period at the end of January, but the class itself is going to be in February. What we wanted to do was set up a plan for you with no interest and no fee for the plan, where you could pay a third of the cost of the course across the next couple of months and then be ready to go when the class starts. The link that you have on your screen and also is in the description for what you're seeing here today, acxmasterclass.com/3-pay. Just, if you want to check it out, go check it out. There's another video where Dan thinks I'm absolutely hilarious. It's a video we shot about. Yeah.
Let me say, David is as funny in this video as I've ever seen him. And I regret to say that, but.
Okay. So I want to make sure that people know what they're getting when they take this class, because we have spent an awful lot of time asking voice talent and actors what they need, what they're worried about, what they're thinking about, what they're concerned about, what they might be afraid of when it comes to doing audiobook narration. Maybe they've heard there's not a lot of money, it's a whole lot of work. None of the books ever sell, so you don't make any royalty share. I can tell you that from the group of books that I've done on ACX alone, that pays my mortgage every month. So it depends on how you approach this. If you listen to people who haven't had success with ACX, you likely are hearing just their experience. We'd like your experience to be different. But in terms of what you get in the class, at the bottom of the page that will take you to, there's a little link that shows you the curriculum. That curriculum goes on and on and on, and it's about the business of what you're doing, how to build your profiles, how to market yourself, how to deal with your rights holders, how to choose between projects that you might want to take and projects you won't want to take, where to go even beyond ACX. We train you how to do this on ACX, and then we show you the other options, the big publishers and the other platforms and the production companies where you can take these same skills and use it with them. We show you exactly what kind of equipment to get. We train you on my editing method, which is called the stair-step method, which speeds up without in any way, shape, or form harming the quality of what you do, speeds up your production process so you can do more books in less time. And we also talk about the performance of how you do fiction books, how you do nonfiction books. People in the class will perform live, and in some cases posting to our mastermind groups the work that they do. We give you feedback on that. The mastermind groups, Dan, can you talk about the mastermind groups, please? Because this is truly like worth the price of admission when you take a
Sure.
look at the ACX Masterclass.
Without engaging in any hyperbole, the ACX Masterclass is the single mastermind group is the single best mastermind group in the universe. And I've checked on other planets, David, because I know what you're thinking about. Some of the
Yeah.
outer planets,
Universe, really?
they
Okay.
can't hold a candle. It's just, and I believe it's because we got lucky the first year we had a bunch of really nice, great people, and they, not because of us, their own personalities were such that they automatically would jump in to help somebody, or somebody had a question, they'd answer. We've never had, and we would not allow, if someone made that mistake, we've never had the comments, posted about attacking somebody, or you see what so and so said. Oh, well, that's none of that stuff. And if raise your hand if you've ever participated in an online discussion group. Anybody? Okay. Now, put your hand down if you've ever experienced an online discussion group in which numerous people, simply every comment they made was negative. Was, if you asked a question, somebody would attack you for it. You know, it's like, well, that's a dumb question.
Or did you
Okay.
check the file section? Have you used the search function? We've answered that question 100,000 times. And we have answered some questions a lot because we have
Right.
new students coming in all the time. But one of the things that I do most often is someone will email me a question and I'll send them back a stock email answer that says, this is a great question to ask in the mastermind group. Because what we don't want to do is hide the answers that we give to people. If somebody wants to know, hey, what was that key combination that you used in the stair step method to speed things up? We'll answer it, but we'll answer it in the group so that everybody else who might have that question also gets the answer. And some people are kind of annoyed by that, but then they realize, oh, I might get answers that other people had as well. Because if you're asking a question about audiobook narration, this is a deep subject. And if you're asking a question about it, it's very likely that other people have either the same question or something very similar to it.
Well, and
So,
there's a second, less important but still an active factor in all this, is that David and I simply, there is not enough time to answer individual questions. If somebody sends us an email saying, What did you say the settings should be on the audio input and blah, blah, blah?" If we take the time to answer that, we're never going to get anything done. And we already covered it in class.
yeah.
And so that's when we'll say, hey, that's a good thing for the mastermind group. And we'll monitor it. At times, we might even jump in and answer it. But that's when we do it. Now, if you email David, if you email either of us with some personal thing, I don't know what a problem with your class registration, or you can't log
Anything
into
about your
somewhere.
account.
Yeah, about your account, but that sounds like, like your AC, it might be your ACX account, but it's only you. It applies only to you. It's very specific. Maybe it's personal. There's a family crisis. This is happening. Would it be okay if we do this? Of course, yeah, sure. You'll contact us. Otherwise, though, I think I'm probably more rigid than David about this. For me, the absolute worst thing that someone can ask for me is something we covered in the class. And by the way, all the live classes are recorded on video, recorded on audio. And it's not unusual that somebody will email saying, I didn't, because we'll sometimes use fill in the blanks in our study guides, to kind of control your attention in the direction we want. And somebody will say, hey, Dan, what goes on the blank in line 4? Well, back up the video. So in that case, some people nobody has expressed anger at me, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone thinks I'm a real jerk, because I give the exact same reply that I took from David. So that's why it's the exact same one. Hey, that's a great question to ask in the mastermind group. Da, 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 da. And I mean it. And that comes from David. By the way, Luana, I never heard of Imperial County, so you're not getting any better. I've never heard of California, so I don't know what she's talking about.
With the ACX masterclass, I want to just give you an example of some of the really deep things that we do with the class. You can take an audiobook class on how to use your microphone. We show you that. How to use your software. We show you that. What microphone and software to get. We certainly show you that. But think about things like you've purchased an audiobook and you notice that little download or PDF link at the end of the line in your Audible library, and you can click on that and you get what's called a related PDF that comes with your audiobook.
But David, how does somebody do those?
Yeah, exactly. So in audiobooks, what you don't want to say is, please refer to the caption below the image you see below, which is what you would see in the reading of the book, but it doesn't make much sense for an audiobook. So one of the things that we're adding to the 10th anniversary is a whole lesson on how to get this, audiobookify a book. What to change in the manuscript of the book, or to have your rights holder change in the manuscript of the book to make it understandable for somebody listening to the book, not referring to things that are visual, but still have those things in a PDF file that they can. We show you how to produce the PDF file. We show you how to work with your rights holder to get the right content for that PDF file. We show you how to change what's in the book to refer to that related PDF file. And we show you how to mention to the rights holder that you offer the creation of that PDF file as a service, and here's what I charge for that service. What we don't want you to do is work for free. Everybody's going to make money on the end result, or they aren't. Maybe they'll make a little bit of money. Maybe they'll make a lot of money. Who knows? The point is, if you're going to be doing something above and beyond what is required of you by your contract that you sign with the rights holder and with ACX when you book a job, we want you to get paid for it. And we show you how to do that. We show you how to keep your rates, your hourly rates, your per finished hour rates, or your royalty share plus rates up, not down. We show you why it might be a bit of a fool's errand to lower your rates so that you get more work. That's a recipe for disaster. And what we want to do is support you as an artist, as an entrepreneur, as an artistpreneur, if you want to start making these crazy changes to words. But what we want to do is do it in a way that is very methodical, very memorable, and that you can refer back to for the rest of your audiobook narration career. Because when you join the ACX Masterclass, you have access to your class materials for life, forever, for at least as long as the internet is in existence and they allow us to have a website. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? But the point is, people have been accessing their material for years now that have taken the class before you.
Mhm.
And we also even have an option where you can get all the updates to the class. But the point is, we make sure that you are nurtured, that you are coddled, that you are supported in a way that makes it absolutely brain dead simple to create and thrive in a business that you have started on ACX, and then take that and expand it to the whole rest of the world. And for the next week, through this Friday night at 9 o'clock Pacific, you have the opportunity to join the class and spread your payments out over 3 months. And you'll see when you get to the class that it's also the lowest price that anybody will pay, because about midway through the registration period at the end of January, before we start the class, we're going to be raising the price back up to its original rate of $19.95. Right now, it's $16.95 for you, and that's spread out across 3 months. So that's like $535 or something like that, or $565 each
Mhm.
month for 3 payments. And so we help you manage your cash flow for that space. But you get exactly the same stuff that everybody else who waits until the last minute and pays $300 more for the course. And there are lots of people that do that because they're sitting there going, really? Huh? Prove it to me that this is a
Mhm.
good class, right? So
Understandable.
take advantage of it now, because if you've wanted to do this, if this is something you said, oh, I could do audiobook now, I could do it better than the guy I'm listening to now or the woman I'm listening to. If you have that in your head, we'd love to help you get there. I love watching our students blossom and thrive. And I was about to tell you, Dan, that Rachel, our assistant, her
Mhm.
rate is getting higher and higher and higher for going through everybody's profiles on ACX and looking at the latest books that they've produced, because she keeps track of everybody. We
Well, wait.
promote you.
Yeah. Yeah, but we gotta make it clear to Rachel, the part about don't undercharge, uh, charge what you're worth and stuff. We don't mean it about her.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, you get your own page, your own promotional page on the acxmasterclass.com site. And your books are listed there with links to them so that people can go, oh, I like that sound, I like the sound of that person, I'm going to go buy their book. So there's hundreds of our students on there with all of their books, some of which, one of our first students, J. Rodney Turner, he's up either near or over 200 books since he took the course. There are people
And
that have
David,
two.
how much experience did he have at, audiobooks before the class?
Dan, that's a great question to ask in the
Thanks.
mastermind group. Perhaps you
Thanks.
should. No. Here's the thing. He had experience using his voice, but not in
That's
the world
true.
of acting, not in the world of acting, not in the world of voiceover.
And a
He
microphone.
was he was an air traffic controller, and he was forced out by the government mandate of his retirement age being reached. And he was looking around. You'll be able to see his story soon, because Dan's doing a video right now on what happened to J. Rodney Turner. He's now become the narrator of choice for the publisher of Zane Grey's books, the new publisher of Zane Grey's books. I am so proud of him. We've had one of our students that is an Audie Award
Mhm.
nominee for his very first book. Joe, you're going to see his story too. The whole point is you have this whole world ahead of you, and you can choose to be very specific about how you approach it, very businesslike, very creative, very methodical, and very cautious and smart about which projects you take on ACX, which projects you say, thank you very much. My dance card is full, but I'm sure you'll find somebody who is wonderful here on ACX. There are lots and lots of narrators. We show you how to make those choices. We also show you the things that people are most afraid of? And I'd love to know what you're afraid of as you think about this. What makes you stop and not do this? Like, is it the tech? Is it the equipment? Is it the production? Is it the idea that you have to deal with other human beings? Is it the audition process? Is it the actual performance? Put it in the comments below. Tell me what it is that you I'm not sure that I want I don't understand that. I don't, I'm kind of afraid by that. I don't know, Dan, when you first started doing radio, was there anything about it that was daunting to you?
Yes.
And
David, the only way I can answer is to tell a tiny story, and you hate that when I do that.
no,
So,
I don't hate tiny stories.
okay.
I hate stories that go halfway and then go, oh, and by the way,
I went to radio school in LA. I took out an ad in the trades, DJ good pipes, tight board, whatever the standard thing we used to say. And I was convinced nobody would offer me a job. So I took the very first job I was offered, had to move across the country for it. Then later a letter's forwarded to me. I had a job offer from a station in Southern California, a bit south of LA, a little late. And so, to answer your question, my very first day on the radio is a Saturday. I'm all by myself. There's nobody there. And the EBS test started to play from another radio station in the county in my control room. And you cannot mute that EBS signal.
Mm-hmm.
So
your
every
mic was
time I
open?
crack, what's that?
And your mic was open?
Well, I quit. It was going for a couple hours, and I don't know. So obviously somebody screwed up.
Yeah.
But so every time I open the mic, in the background, broadcasters in an area have gotten together to blah, blah, blah. And so that was pretty nightmarish. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the
But what I'm
thing.
talking about specifically is, did you have anything that made you hesitate? Like, I don't know how to run the board. I don't know how to speak in 10 seconds or less before the singer starts singing. I don't know, how to control the volume on the board. Was there anything that like gave you pause? Like for me,
No.
I was always afraid I would talk over the singers. I didn't realize there were countdown clocks, or I didn't understand how they had all of these different things that they would manage. But once I found out how it was done, it was a piece of cake. And we see that happening all the time with our students. They think that this is going to be hard, or they think it's going to be a big slog. Like you got to work, 10 hours a day for 3 weeks to get an audiobook done. And you don't. You simply don't. You take it at whatever pace you want. They give you plenty of time to finish a book. We show you how to make that process faster so that you can do more books in the same amount of time. But whatever you're afraid of, one of Dan's and my superpowers in the ACX Masterclass is we set your mind at ease by revealing what you may not know about that particular process in audiobooks.
Yeah, the human fear in an everyday life situation almost always is based on not knowing how to do something, or not knowing what this experience is going to be like. So think about the times when you were dragged to a gathering, a party or whatever, and I don't know these people. How long? Well, once you get in there and you start talking, you discover, oh, this wasn't so bad. But until you experience something, what happens is your brain tries to picture it, and your brain cannot picture it because your brain does not have the information yet, but it drives you nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. The image I always have is like a spinning disc, going round, 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 wanting to stop once it found the answer, but it doesn't find the answer. Like, this editing system, the stair step method. I wonder how they do that if it's that fast. Well, you're not because you're dumb, but because you're not David. David came up with his way, and you don't happen to know what that is. And meanwhile, you've heard a whole lot of people say, "Oh no, punch and roll. If it ain't punch and roll, you're an amateur."
Yeah, there was a thread in one of the audiobook narrator Facebook groups this past weekend about punch and roll versus continuous recording, which is where you just continue and you use a dog clicker, or you use use a whistle, or you yell out pick up, and you watch for those things. You try to find those things in the long recording that you've made. It's highly likely you're going to miss something. You hear
Mhm.
dog clicks and whistles and pickup all the time in some of the books made on ACX that get put into the marketplace. That Audible didn't find those errors either. I read a book once from somebody who narrated their own book, and I heard them say a sentence, and they go, wait, hold on, I want to try that one more time. And then they said the sentence again, and it's in the book, and you're like, what? Okay, here's the thing. When you look at a process, think about all that you've achieved as an actor or a voice talent already, that there is no way that the muggles, the non-actors, the non-voiceover talent out there, the civilians that don't do what we do, there's no way they would know that it's that easy, right? When you think about working on set as an on-camera actor, and you see the finished product in the theater or on television or on the internet, there's a lot of what happens in the finished product that is a lot simpler than it appears on the screen when you're the actor doing the work. Same thing with voiceover. How you do voiceover, how you do different categories of voiceover, and certainly audiobook narration in general, a lot of what feels very difficult and needs a lot of talent and everything, it's a lot simpler than it appears. There are people that are worried about accents and dialects. There are people that are worried about the editing process and how do I find the right take? So much goes on that if it's demystified, and we do demystify it in our 4-week course, the ACX Masterclass, that if it's demystified and you get to practice it, you get to do it over and over and over until it becomes muscle memory, all of a sudden, what appears to be very high intensity, very talent required, very hard to do to the audience, to the listener, but really impressive, is pretty easy for you to do if you get the right training. And that's what we want to give you in the ACX Masterclass. And again, we have a 3-payment plan, $565 a month for the next 3 months, next 3 payment months. It's actually two months away from when we start. So you pay your last payment just days before the class starts. And again, all your material is both recorded and available in the study guides. We have a website that you log into that has a whole resource area with every lesson, every piece of training that we have, some that we do live, some that are adjacent to what we're doing live, all that you can refer back to. I even have a piece that I'm doing now on the latest editions of Audacity and the previous editions of Audacity, how to set up the preferences and the interface of Audacity so that it's not so busy. It's just what you need as an audiobook narrator and nothing more. We want everything to be so that you can just sit down and do the work. And so that's what we're trying to accomplish. And that's what we've had just amazing success with over the last 10 years. It's the 10th anniversary 2024 edition
We should
of
do
the AC.
something cool to
Let
celebrate.
me
I don't
finish
know
the
what.
title first. Hold on.
Okay.
Of the ACX Masterclass. And it's at acxmasterclass.com/3-pay. What were you saying, Dan?
Oh, we probably won't because I'm lazy, but we should come up with some way to celebrate the 10 years. Like at the end of this class in 2024, we should all go to Fatburger or,
Oh,
something.
that's it. No, that's it.
So
After the
anybody,
class is over in March,
yeah,
because the class actually, we give you, like a 10% bonus. The class spills over the last Q&A class, because we do a live Q&A class every week as well. The live Q&A class is actually on March 1st or 2nd. So the week after, let's just look. If you're in town, we'll go to the Woodland Hills. Wasn't it the Woodland Hills Fat Burger where we
it
were?
was the Woodland Hills, yeah. Don't know if it's still
Yeah,
there, but it was.
yeah. And I realize the people that we get from the other countries that ACX is available in, like Canada and the UK and Ireland, they're not going to be able to join us unless they choose to. But for the people in Southern California, maybe the people nearby, if you want to get over here, let's just do that. And we
Okay.
could even do a live stream from there, and just say,
That
oh, this hamburger is so good. What do you think?
that I think that'd be very cool. Why don't we
And you'll pay?
why don't we play the role of fast food auditor? Where we're undercover wearing body cams and
Uh,
we'll stream. Maybe that's not a good idea.
I don't think so.
Yeah, okay,
All
good.
right. So
So, okay.
here's the thing.
David, I'm sorry, I wanna ask you something. I
Yeah.
cannot or I wanna tell you something. I cannot see all the comments, that are coming in, and that's because we are broadcasting this on, more than, at least half a dozen channels, and
3.
I'm only 3.
Yeah.
No, more than that.
Oh, you're broadcasting on your channels as well?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh, cool.
we're
Very
doing
cool.
it on
Yeah.
the ACX Masterclass Facebook page,
Great.
also. So I can only see some comments, and like David does, I wanna address every question, but if I
Every question has been there's been no
okay,
questions.
okay,
So, but if you
cool.
have questions, we'd love to answer it. Like, have you wondered what mic I use? Have you wondered how long it takes me to do, say, a 10-hour audiobook?
No.
Have you wondered whether or not it costs you anything to be on ACX over time? Have you wondered what the revenue shares, the royalty share split is? These are all questions that a lot of people have. If you have those questions, I urge you to put them in the comments before we wrap things up here in the next few minutes, because I'd like to answer them for you. We titled this Q&A on the 10th anniversary edition of the ACX Masterclass, question mark, wait, comma, what, question mark. We did that because we want to answer your questions. And we especially want to answer your questions about the course. We've told you already how long it is. We've told you when it's going to occur. We've told you how much it is. We've told you about the special 3 payment plan that we have there. The link is on your screen, and it's also in the description of the event on whatever channel you're watching. And if you have questions, we want to answer them. So please don't make me get down on my knees and beg, because then you won't see anything but a brick wall and some flowers in the background.
And in addition to any questions you have about how it all works, I'd be interested to hear if you have thought about doing audiobooks or you definitely want to do audiobooks, what has prevented you? Because it's possible that some of what has prevented you actually should not be a problem, an obstacle for you. But
And it's very
um,
likely that we address it in the course.
probably, but I mean, David, and we can give some free answers here, right?
Of
I
course.
mean,
Oh, I'm not
maybe.
saying we'll only tell you in the
Oh,
course. I'm saying we'll answer it here. Listen, we give away our best stuff. I give you an example. People often say to me, I've listened to some of your samples on audible.com, some of the books that you've done. Beautiful. What kind of mic do you use? As if that matters. It does matter to a degree that you use a high quality mic. Which
mm,
particular mic you use, if it's high quality, not really that big of a deal. But to answer the question, I use the Audio-Technica AT2020 USB Plus. And people are shocked at that. That's not a $3,000 microphone. That's not an MKH 416 for $1,200. That's not a U87 from Neumann for $3,000 plus. What are you using a USB microphone for? I've heard you should never use a USB microphone, that is illegal in most counties.
I've heard that you no professional can ever get a professional sound from any USB microphone,
And
and
99% of the time, that's
they're right.
absolutely correct.
That's
But
the
there
thing.
are a
That's
few
the
unicorn
danger.
microphones. What?
Yeah, that's the danger of being right about something 99% of the time, and you kind of tend to assume, "I'm probably right on the other 1%."
Yeah.
Well, no, there is no acoustic or physical or physics-related reason that a USB microphone cannot deliver high quality audio. I mean, just as good as any other microphone, especially
Yeah.
talking about human voice. That's not difficult to record.
Well,
What
here's
happened,
the
and
thing.
yeah.
Here's the thing. If you imagine a USB microphone as a toy, and that's your universal idea of what a USB microphone is, then your answer is going to be the same all the time. But if you imagine a USB microphone as a microphone that is like any other microphone, except that the guts, the electronics of a bridge or an interface that you would use with a studio microphone is tightened and put down to a very small size and then placed in the bottom of the microphone with a high quality pickup and high quality electronics, not cheap electronics, so they can sell the USB microphone for $8. If you imagine that, then you're imagining exactly what the AT2020 USB Plus is, what the new Sennheiser USB mic is, what the Rode mics are that have USB options, what the Shure mics, the MV7, and things like that. These are all USB microphones. You're not supposed to be using USB microphones. Did you not read the manual? You know, and so, but the AT2020 has been around for a lot longer than these other microphones. And I've been using it for a lot longer. And I've been really happy with the results. And so have my clients. And my clients include everybody from one off rights holders on ACX to Audible and Penguin Random House and Simon and Schuster and Hachette and production groups and they don't ask what microphone I use. They listen to the results of what I do and they go, "Great, we've got a book for you. Do you want to narrate it?"
Mhm.
So know that that's the case, and know that some of the rules that are absolutes that you hear, like you have to know punch and roll and you have to use punch and roll, they may or may not be true. May or may not be true. And there
Mhm.
may be some secrets, some hidden techniques and processes that we teach that others don't even know about. And that's the truth. And they've been things that have been tried and proven by me in my own particular personal audiobook narration practice and that I share with my students and clients. Dan?
Uh, I agree with everything David just said, actually.
Great. All right. So we're
And by
coming
the
up.
way, I think you made it clear when you said 99%, but to be 100% clear, by saying it's not impossible for a USB microphone to deliver a really high quality audio, that does not mean, yeah, go ahead, use your Blue Yeti or your
No,
Snowball, which,
no,
you know,
no,
uh,
nor
there are a
nor
whole
your
lot of
headset
podcasters.
microphone, nor
Yeah,
the
there are
headset
a whole,
microphone that you use, mhm,
yeah, I'll shut up.
nor the headset microphone that you use
Mm,
to play Call of Duty. Don't do that.
yep, yep.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, me.
Yes, you.
I got, I do see, I don't know where Lake County is in British Columbia, but if it's near Whistler,
It's
uh,
Lake Country, not Lake County.
Lake Country. Okay.
Yeah,
That's totally different.
yeah, it
And I
is.
know
All
that
right,
place
so
well.
let's wrap up.
Okay.
ACXmasterclass.com 3/3-pay. That will take you to, you can also use the clickable link in the description of this event on whatever channel you're watching. That will take you to a page that has yet another video that you can watch if you want to, or you can just sign up for the course and spread your payments out across 3 months. We'll be doing the course in February of 2024. It's the 10th anniversary. A lot of work going into this. It's going to be completely up to date. We've also added, uh, in the last course, we added, and we've even enhanced those, a series of special tools that will speed up your process for both recording and editing and mastering even faster. You get free software included in the course, not only for that recorded editing and mastering, but also that makes sure that the work that you do meets ACX's technical requirements for audiobook content. Guaranteed, specific guaranteed. You drag and drop your audio onto it and it spits out the MP3 that works. You don't have to do any filters, you don't have to do any effects, you don't have to do anything. You just edit your finished WAV file, drop it onto our piece of software that we developed specifically for this, and boom, you're done, off to the races. And that speeds you up as well. We have a whole series of messaging templates so that if you want to talk to your rights holder about some feature or facet or step in the process of production of their book, you can do so and sound like the brilliant person that you are without having to sit there and compose it on a one-off basis. We give you that. There's all kinds of things. We have interviews with industry experts, industry professionals, the guy who wrote the software that keeps you safe from scams on ACX, Craig Tollefson. We have a complete interview and demonstration of his software and where to find it. We show you how to use positron to do your proofing, and we give you a special free set of hours to play with it, more than enough for one full book so that you see what's going on, and a discount on anything that you want to do in the future. We have the bases covered. We have the waterfront manned, and we want you to take advantage of what has been one of the most satisfying projects of my life and one of the most successful projects for our students, and that is the ACX Masterclass. Dan, did you want to say anything before we go?
No, if you want to narrate audiobooks, whether you've never done it or you gave it a try and it didn't work out, if you want to narrate audiobooks, please check out the video. Check out, there's a link to last year's curriculum, and this would overload you if we put the URL out there. But once you've done that, you might also go to our kudos page, acxmasterclass.com/kudos. And the reason, and it sounds like, oh, so we can see people saying nice things about you. No, what you're going to see is about 200 graduates telling you what their experience in the class was. And unlike the reviews or testimonials that you might have seen that say, the greatest product in the world, signed Bob, Europe. We've got every person, here's their full name, here's where they are geographically. We don't give you their home address, but we'd say where they are geographically. And here's their photo. And so you can see, and not only can you see these are real people, there are so many, it's quite possible you know at least one of them. And if you do, and you're not sure this is right for you, contact that person off the record. Neither of you has to tell us about it. Because that I've said this to David many times, because each year we make new videos when we're about to launch the class. And each year I say to David, can we just tell people to go to our kudos page and read that and sign up? And no, David wants to give valuable information,
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, listen, I appreciate the time you've spent with us today. This is being recorded, so you can come back and watch it if you want to. Yeah, you don't really have to. We'd love to have you in the class. It's the 10th anniversary. We've got some great things planned for it. Apparently, we're going to go to Fat Burgers afterwards as well for those that attend the class. So, and you're behind, right, Tim?
The last few years, I don't know if you've thought about this, the last few years, we've gotten a higher percentage of Los Angeles students. So we might have a pretty decent crowd at Fat Burger that whenever
we do get students from all around the world. I'm always shocked when someone signs up from those places where ACX is available. We don't allow people in countries where ACX doesn't operate to sign up for the course. We don't even allow them to see our website. So if you happen to be watching this from a country where ACX doesn't exist and you can't be a part of it, Well, if you're an expat, okay, you know how to use a VPN and get to where you're going. But if you live there, unfortunately, we don't want to sell anything to anybody who can't take advantage of it. So that's the
Right.
thing to do.
Right.
And with that, I want to thank you, Dan, for agreeing to pay for the Fat Burger celebration after the class. Thank you very much for that. You guys all heard him say yes.
Right.
Um,
Say that again. Pay for the
what?
class.
Pay for the
Just say,
class? Or, oh, Uncle
ladies
Tanous.
and gentlemen, that is called a spit take, in case you didn't know.
Guess who's coming to the Fat Burger thing? Uncle Tanous. All
Yes,
right,
that's right.
cool.
Uncle News.
That's right. All right, cool. Thank you guys for showing up. Share this with your friends. Give us a like or two if you wouldn't mind. You can smash that like button until it's unrecognizable on your keyboard if you want to, like I have. We hope that you, if you're considering doing ACX, considering doing audiobook narration and production, that you join us. The ACX Masterclass 10th anniversary edition is coming up in 2024. Jump in before Friday at 9 o'clock Pacific if you want to take advantage of the 3-payment plan. We would love to have you. And with that, thank you, Dan.
Thanks, David. Thanks for doing all the technical stuff here where I just show up and babble. I appreciate it, which was pretty much my radio career.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I appreciate that as well. All right. See you soon. Bye.
Thanks, guys.